If you ever watch them, you'd quickly realize that runners all share an incredible spirit and determination. Striving to run each race faster and better than the one before, runners continually set new and higher goals for themselves in the race to be the very best they can be. Every working day, hospital physicians and staff are in a similar race to be the best. The goal of their race is performance improvement. To ensure the best in healthcare, to win the race, so to speak, all members of the healthcare team must work together with a commitment to ongoing excellence. Performance improvement is essential to the future of Indiana Hospital and the health of the community that it serves. Change is a constant force and affects every aspect of hospital care. As Indiana Hospital realizes its vision of IH 2000, it is also realized that performance improvement will be an essential part of the organizational culture.
In the changing field of healthcare, as the mandates, the external mandates influence the way we deliver care, when we meet this pre-established goal, then we're not going to stop there. We can't stop because we're going to have other mandated things we need to do, other mandated forces that are going to control the way we work and the way we deliver care. This is not the beginning and the end. No project is like that in healthcare. It will be a fluid thing, and when we meet this one goal, we'll identify other problems. We have to be alert that other issues will occur. We're not going to sit back and say we're done. Always, we're going to look at patient outcome and how we, through performance improvement, can have improved patient outcome. That's really the large goal of any of these projects.
Performance improvement is a step-by-step process that is ongoing. Performance improvement enables the hospital to make changes when they are needed and to achieve the desired excellence in care and service. This performance improvement model illustrates the steps in the process. You could say that it's a roadmap for hospital physicians and staff to follow on the journey to continuing excellence. The first step in the performance improvement model is plan and design. The next step is measure. Then assess. And finally, improve. We're all familiar with a tug-of-war where everyone pulls against everyone else. Well, we could liken a tug-of-war to attitudes of mistrust and fear working against or pulling against the goal of performance improvement. Performance improvement requires an environment of teamwork. Rather than pulling against each other, hospital physicians and staff must work together to improve the delivery of healthcare services. Collaboration, or teamwork, among healthcare professionals from various disciplines is called interdisciplinary teamwork. Responding to the changes and challenges of healthcare requires that staff from all areas of the organization come together and create solutions that overcome the barriers to success. The path to performance improvement is not always easy. There are usually obstacles and excuses. But performance improvement is when people work together to get the job done.
Traditionally, people tend to think, this is the way we've always done it, therefore it's the right way. You have to get people to look at how else can we do it. Is it really the right way just because it's the way it's always been? You have to throw a lot of ideas on the table and pick them up and look at them and pass them around for the group to look at. And you are shifting work. You're shifting work units from one group of workers to another. So initially you may meet with obstacles, but once you get past that obstacle, there is a really good secondary gain that I hadn't anticipated, but I was very pleased to see that you have a heightened awareness of what other departments do, what the other worker bees are doing. You're not in a vacuum. Everybody has problems that they're dealing with daily, and when you lay solutions out on the table, sometimes you lay problems out that the group can solve.
One of the obstacles that you may encounter when you're involved in this process, and we experienced and do in every process improvement project that we're involved in, is we have this need to quickly solve the problem. We find when we're doing things that we need to almost hold ourselves back from putting something into place that's only going to provide a short-term solution rather than a long-term revision of how we're doing things.
Performance improvement is being used by physicians and staff of Indiana Hospital to improve care and service. The goal of every performance improvement effort is to ultimately improve the quality of care and service. And to reach this goal, it is also recognized that it takes the efforts of more than just the employees of a single department. For example, one performance improvement project at Indiana Hospital focused on improving patient waiting time in the emergency room. This project quickly expanded to include a number of hospital departments in the performance improvement process.
The specific project that our group's working on is decreasing the length of stay for the admitted patient through the emergency department. We identified that there was a problem in long lengths of stay for emergency department patients because of multiple complaints. Fully 80% of our patient complaints were related to patient stay, length of stay. We were not meeting customer expectations. We were not meeting patient expectations. Superficially, it appeared to be an emergency department problem. And when we examined it, though, we really identified that it's a multi-system, interdisciplinary problem. When you examine all the work that's done from the time the patient has point of entry into the emergency department until they exit to the admitted status, almost every system in the hospital is involved in delivering some piece of work or some piece of care for that patient. What we needed to do was identify the issues, to break the work units down and examine were the right people doing the right thing at the right time, in the right way, for the right patient outcome. Initially, the idea for performance improvement was just sort of an informal thing. As I thought about the problem, I would talk to different unit managers or department managers and just get some input from them. When it became a formal program, the group is very fluid, depending on what piece of work we have identified as an area for improvement. The first piece of work involved housekeeping, because housekeeping was a key player in getting the bed ready to accept the patient. After an inpatient was discharged, we had an empty room, but it was not a ready room. And this was an ideal way for housekeeping to move into our performance improvement model, get that room ready. Then that eventually involved housekeeping notifying the billing discharge department because the room wasn't ready in the computer. Housekeeping had the room ready, but the billers, discharge people didn't know it. Housekeeping had to let them know. The best way for housekeeping to let them know was through the use of MIS. So then MIS moved into the group to solve the communication problem. So as we identified the work being done and who needed to know what, the group was fluid. When the housekeeping piece of it was improved, housekeeping was able to step out of the group, and then medical records stepped in, and we worked with medical records for a piece of time. Currently, the piece of work we're looking at is diagnostic studies, particularly lab studies. And the lab's working with us on turnaround times, expectations, national standards, benchmarks.